Like, mamas, it's time for you to stop scrolling on social media and calling it me time. All right? It's time for you to stop giving all of your time, all of your attention to your children or to your spouse or to your boo, and to the point where you have no time for you. All right? I know you're juggling a lot of things, thousands of things, right? And I know most days you are barely holding it together with a thread, right? And also, realistically, you probably have completely forgotten what it's like to even be just a woman outside of mom, because you're momming at a high level. I'm going to give it to you. You are momming at a high level, but it is time for you to make time for you in your life, right? It is time for you to make time for fun in your life. And that fun comes in the form of the kid-free vacations that you know you want to take. All right, I've seen the comments on YouTube of moms saying, oh, I just hate to leave my kids. I can't be away for so long. Or, I went on this trip and I feel so guilty for having such a good time without them. Are they going to hate me? I need you to stop. Just stop, okay? It is absolutely okay for you to have fun, for you to have a life outside of your children. They will be okay and you will be amazing, okay? So in this video, I am going to talk to you and share how I found time for me, right? As a mom. I found time for me as a woman outside of being a mom after motherhood, so that you can find time for yourself as well, all right? So when my daughter True was young, right? She's 4 years old. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, both girls. So I am a toddler mom right now. I always felt like I needed to be with her, right? I always felt like I was on call, because I was always on call. Like, I breastfed her until she was 1.5, and I was horrible with keeping a schedule with regard to pumping. So I never had enough milk for her to sustain herself without me. So I never really could leave her, right? And when I had her, I was 36 years old. So in addition to having her, I had established a whole life outside of her as a woman before I had her, right? But after becoming a mom, I really felt like I didn't even know how to be Inez anymore. Like, I felt very much more comfortable with just being a mom, and I didn't even want to figure out this whole being myself and doing the things that I wanted to do anymore, right? I found myself spending my whole day doing things in motherhood and wifehood, and I really had just lost my identity as a woman. And if I think about it, I really felt like in some way the role of mom and the role of wife were kind of holding my identity as Inez hostage, right? I didn't really know how to set her free. And, it became a lot, because I felt like sad. Like, I felt sad about it. I even developed a little bit of like postpartum depression, because I really just didn't know how I was going to be me. I didn't get to see my friends anymore, or talk to them, or hang out with them. I never left the house without her. My to-do list was never ending, right? I was mentally and emotionally tired. And even though I lived in a house full of people, I didn't really feel fully supported, right? So that is actually the reason why I hired a coach. I hired my very first life coach in November of 2019, and it changed my whole life, right? I felt lost in my own life, and I'm sure that you can relate. Like, I felt lost in my own life. I didn't know how I was going to put it back together. I didn't even know how I was going to get any semblance of myself again. And one of the things I remember my coach asking me was, if you had to write down like what is missing in your life, what would you write? And it was fun. Like, there was no fun in my life, right? It was only responsibilities, only to-dos, only people I need to take care of. And in addition to that, there was no free time in my life. Like, all of my hours seemed like they were filled with things to do. And every moment I felt like there was something else to do. So even when I had a down moment, I wasn't thinking about the fact that I have a free moment. I was thinking about all the other things that I should be doing in that free time. I'm sure you can relate. So I realized that, I was doing everything for my family and for my baby, really at the expense of my own happiness, right? Under the guise of like giving my baby the best, when realistically, I wasn't giving her the best, I was giving her the worst, right? A lot of times we do that. Like, we, overextend ourselves, and we say to ourselves, as long as my kids are good, I'm good. That is not true. That is a false statement. Your kids could be great and you could be burnt out and laid out, right? And so I just realized that, I needed to get a life. And I'm going to tell you, you need to get a life. As a mom, you need to have a life outside of your kids. And I really just needed to create space for Inez, right? Just me, not as the mom, not as the wife, not as anything or any role that was tied to somebody else, just as me. I needed free time to enjoy the things that made me happy, right? And one of the things that made me happy was free time, travel, friends, and all these things. So I'm going to share with you how I made time for myself in the midst of all of these things so that you can use them as well. So the first thing I did was I asked myself, in my new life, what would fun look like in this new life, right? Because one of the things that's hardest to do when you're a mom, and I feel like it's even harder to do when you're a mom, when you become a mom after 35, right, is to take your old version and put her to the side and create the new version of you that has pieces of the old version, right? You just want to bring the old version in. That's not going to work. So when I asked myself that, I realized that I needed consistent free time. Like I needed to know that a certain time of day was going to be free and open for me. I also needed to be doing something fun every week, right? I needed something fun every week. Not once a month. Like I was like every week. I wanted to spend more time with my friends, and I wanted to spend more quality time with my husband, and I wanted to be able to travel. So these are the things I was like, I need to add these back into my life. I don't know how they're going to fit, but somehow I'm going to add these back in my life. So that's the first thing that I did, was just ask myself, like, what does fun look like in my new life, right? So one of the things that I realized I had to do was delegate, right? So I wrote down everything that was on my plate, right? Everything that I was doing. And I worked with my husband, and I worked with my mom and other people who I was living with to be able to delegate some of those items to them, right? A lot of times we just take a lot on our shoulders, and we just have this image sometimes of that's just what mothering is. That's just crap. Okay? No, that is not what mothering has to be for you. You get to define what motherhood looks like for you. And for me, I needed to relieve some pressure and some stress. I was like, I'm going to need to take the cooking off my plate. Cooking drains my energy. I can't focus in the kitchen. I can't even stay in the kitchen long enough. I'm not a good cook in general. It's not even something I really want to get good at. So I just took it off my plate completely, right? Cleaning is also something that was super draining. And with children, they mess up so much that it's like you literally become the maid. So I was like, no, I'm not doing the cleaning. We're going to hire somebody to come in. We're going to split the cost. Whatever we need to do, we're going to have somebody come in, right? Also, my husband and I established shifts with the baby. So sometimes he would be with her, and I would know that when he was with her, he was just with her, and I was just letting him do his dad thing, and I could go do whatever I wanted to do. And then I would be with her, and he could go do his own thing, right? Or I would establish a shift with my mom and say, okay, every X day at these hours, True is with my mom, right? So I know that I can have free time, or me and Tawana can have time, or whatever it is, right? So that's something I would suggest that you do, is really decide like what all is on your plate and what you can take off of your plate that doesn't have to be on your plate, so that you can open up your plate for some free time and some fun time, right? The other thing that I did was I created a calendar for my friends, right? So you know what happens. You see one of your friends, you talk to one of your friends, you run into them, you're like, oh my God, I've been seeing you forever. We need to connect. Like, it's really important. Girl, call me. And then it never happens, right? Or you're like, girl, we need to go out. And then it never happens. So what I did was, as opposed to leaving it at what we need to do, I had a calendar set up specifically for my friends. I forget the app. I have to look up the app that I use. I'll put it in the comments below. But that app said, here is time slots to hang out with Inez. I want to hang out with my friends more. I miss y'all. If you are available in these times, book some time with me this week, next month, whenever you're available. Book the time and I will be there, right? It was amazing. My friends were just like, no, you don't have a calendar. Yes, I do have a calendar, okay? Because otherwise I won't do it, right? And even when the time came to do it, you know, it's easier to just stay in the house than it is to actually get dressed and go outside, especially if you have been through the pandemic, right? And this was after the pandemic. So But I would get myself together and be like, go outside, girl. I know you just want to stay in the house. I know it's a lot. I know you had a long day. You tired. You don't feel like getting dressed and going outside. Go outside. I promise you, you are going to enjoy it. And I always enjoyed it. I always had a blast. I always loved catching up with my friends. So that was one of the biggest things. And sometimes it wasn't like time for my friends. Sometimes it would be like, you know, maybe I just went to a dance class, right? Maybe I just went to an African dance class. Maybe I would have time to go to somebody's birthday party, you know, a Founders Day event, like whatever it was. Like this was just open time for me. And if nobody booked it, then I would just book it for myself, right? The other thing I did was my husband and I established weekly date nights. So before it used to be every Friday. Now it's every Thursday. But every week. Now this is the thing. It was a non-negotiable thing. Like we just decided it's not negotiable. Like this day from this time to this time, as you start at like 8 o'clock, because that's when our girls go to bed, is date night. Now we could just sit in the house and watch a movie. We could play cards and do some fun games. We could actually get dressed and go out. We could just lay in the bed and talk. Like it don't even matter. Like we're just going to spend this time together, and we're calling it date night. You don't have to be outside. And just doing that consistently, making it a point, allowed us to always be like having time to connect, right? And that was important because, honey, having children will strain every relationship. The biggest relationship it will strain is the relationship with your man, okay? That's the one that's really gonna strain, okay? So making time and being like, no, these are non-negotiable. And what we did was like, we made it a time after our girls were asleep. So whoever had to watch our girls weren't really watching them. They were just at the house while the girls were asleep, right? And making it a priority, like just, you know, and we would trade off like who planned the activity. So maybe I would plan an activity or he would plan an activity, either way, right? And it was great. Like it was just great. The other thing that I did was I started planning my next 3 trips, right? Before I was, you know, a mom and a wife, I was always planning my next trip. And I realized that, you know, always having a trip in mind allows you to like give you something to look forward to in the midst of all the life and mom and all the things. So to always have the next trip on the calendar just really made the time that I was immersed and even sometimes overwhelmed with the things I was doing as a mom. It made it okay, because I was like, you know what? In 3 months, in 2 months, in a month, in a week, right? Like I'm gonna get my break, right? I'm gonna get to go somewhere. So it also helps you to start building in the habits in your life to consistently be able to take the trips you want to take, because like you're able to incorporate systems into your life. You're able to incorporate certain support from people because they just know that, you know, you're taking trips often. So it's like they know it's your lifestyle. People come in to support you. You can leverage more people. And it also helps you to establish some strategies, right, in your life to be able to allow you to take the trips consistently and confidently, right, without being stressful and a strain on you, right? So I was like, you know what? I need to focus on what are the next 3 trips. So the first trip that I did was not a getaway. It was a family vacation because it was the pandemic. And we went to the Poconos as a family during the pandemic. And we went and we rented I think it was either an Airbnb or a VRBO. But it was just good to get away from the house, right? Just being in the pandemic was a lot. We were always in the house. So it was good to get away from the house and be in a new environment, right? The second vacation that we took was a vacation. Me and my husband went to Mexico for a conference, and it was amazing. It was all-inclusive. Just we got a chance to connect with other couples who were without their kids, right? People who are entrepreneurs and real estate, and just be adults, like just enjoy adult fun and each other, right? And then the other trip that I took was a solo vacation, me by myself. We had our 20-year high school reunion in Monroe, North Carolina, which is where I'm from. Shout out to MHS. And yeah, so I got to go on that trip by myself to visit my friends and just hang out with my high school friends, which was amazing. Hang out with my bestie of 30 plus years, which was amazing. And just reconnect with people. So that's when the snowball of taking the trips after momhood started to roll. And since then, I have done multiple trips. My husband and I have done multiple trips together. We've been to Puerto Rico together. I've been to Mexico again while I was pregnant with my second daughter. And we just make it a part of our life, you know, like we just really make it a part of our life at this point. I am about to go on what will be my third, I think it's my third trip. When I went to Belize for my birthday, I went to Cartagena for my anniversary for my line sisters, and I'm going to Bali. So this will be my third solo trip without the family this year. This is a odd year. I usually don't take these many, but because it's a norm in my life, I'm able to set this up, right, and make it happen. So if you are someone, right, and you need help making time in your life, you know, to take the kid-free vacations that you want to take, but you don't, because you don't have the systems, you don't have the support, you don't have the strategies in your life to make it happen, I can help you with that. Okay, like it's something that I've done for myself. It's something that I've helped others do. It's something I can help you do, right? Realistically, as a mom, taking a momcation, taking a kid-free vacation can be a lot of, I call it mental and logistical gymnastics, right? It just can require a lot. And realistically, you're not gonna go, right? You're not gonna make it happen if you feel like going is a lot more work than what you're already doing, right? And that only makes sense. So you have to have the systems in place. You have to have the support in place. You have to have the strategies in place for it not to feel like an Olympic sport in order to make it actually happen, right? And that's what I can help you do. That's what I help my clients do, right? You need to automate your travel savings so that having the money and figuring out how much money you can spend is not even a thought, right? You need to be able to easily advise yourself on what to do for your itinerary, where to go, that type of thing, right? Using the internet. You need to be able to easily be your own travel advisor. That's what I can help you do. Like, you need to be able to find the best deals online, right? For whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it's a flight deal, whether it's a all-inclusive package, like whatever it is, you need to know where to go and how to leverage the sites to do it, right? And then you also need to have established childcare that you trust, right? Who is in your support system that you know you're going to be able to leave your kids with and not have a second thought about them being with them, right? You have to have that set up before and ahead of time so that's not a hesitation. And then most importantly, you need to incorporate habits into your life, right? So that, and into your mindset, so that you can easily take a break whenever you want. And it's not such a huge mental leap for you to be away from your kids for a certain amount of time or be a certain distance away from your kids, right? Again, that's what I've helped myself do. I've helped my clients do, and I can help you do the same. So if you need support with that, click the link in my description, book a call with me, and we can talk about how we can plan your next 3 getaways, right? The next 3 getaways. You also can sign up for my email list, and this is why you want to sign up for my email list, because I am planning and gathering women who have done this, right? Black moms who have figured out and have mastered the art of taking the kid-free vacation. I'm gathering them up, and I am going to host a 1-day summit for moms planning to take kid-free vacations. We're going to talk about all of the things that they've done in order to be able to make it happen. It's going to be the very first summit of its kind. I have not released the date of it yet. I have not released anything about it, and you may want to be the first person to know about it, right? So you have to be on my listserv in order to be the first person to know about it. I mean, by kid-free vacations, I mean girlfriends getaways. I mean vacations with your boo. I mean momcations with yourself. Whatever version of a kid-free vacation you want to take. During this summit, we're going to be talking about how you can make it happen. I plan to bring together the moms. They are going to spill the tea on how they made it happen. And then we're going to have real actionable steps that you can take and tools you can use in order to make it happen for yourself. So that link is also in the description as well. All right, y'all, that's it. That's all. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you really like this video, then I know you are one of my people. So you also may want to follow me on Instagram at International Inej. You can see more of me trying to figure out and do the things that are required in order to take my kid-free vacations. Okay, and until we meet again, stay chirping.